Well, thank you, Ross. We've come a very long way from what was an idea last April when we had a symposium and workshops which Ross facilitated. Many of you were there at in Toronto at that time, and this is a really important stepping stone on the way to where we're ultimately heading. There's a real buzz in the room, which I find terrifically exciting. As somebody mentioned to me earlier, they said, hope you realize you've got the smartest people in youth mental health in the country in one room for the first time. And I think that's fantastic. It's a real indication of the interest and the passion that you people have. We're delighted to welcome all of you to this strengthening workshop. Many of you have traveled from a long way. And on behalf of CHR and our foundation, we're really grateful not for just being here, but for the time and the energy and the passion that you put into this project to this point. The next 3 days obviously are going to be critical. From the feedback we've been getting, it seems clear that you share the view of CHR and the Graham Boeckh Foundation partnership, that this is a really big deal. As you're all aware, the Graham Boeckh Foundation and CHR created this partnership, $25 million. It was announced last October by the Minister of Health in Ottawa, and it's branded as TRAM. And our aim is no less than to transform the mental health care system in Canada over the next 5 years for youths 11 to 25 who are suffering from or at risk of mental illness. The system, in spite of the best efforts of thousands of dedicated professionals, fails far too many people in many different ways. Our best efforts, simply are not good enough, and we hear this over and over and over. To be sure, there has been progress over the past 25 years. That's a point in time at which the system tragically failed Graham and our family. But this change over the last 25 years has essentially been incremental. And what we need really is transformational change. Many people have asked a lot of questions, but one that keeps coming up over and over is, what do we mean by transformational change? That means doing something better. The point I want to make is, I think to understand transformational change, it's important to think about it in contrast to incremental change. Incremental change is limited in scope, it's linear, and it's often reversible. Transformational change examines underlying beliefs, assumptions, and structures within an organization or system, and we're talking about the mental health care system. It's much broader in scope, and the result, the system will fundamentally change the way it operates. There's examples which you'll hear from today in HIV, stroke, and Australia, and what's been going on there, which is very exciting. You've got to think about game-changing, paradigm-breaking. It must stick, i.e. be permanent, to qualify, and therefore it must win over major stakeholders. And this is a critical objective of TRAM on the way to our final objective, which is to change the mental health care system. And we are only interested in funding proposals and networks that have this promise. We want and we need the evidence that will enable a paradigm shift to occur in the treatment of mentally ill youth. And we want, basically this is the challenge before you. And we want to express our profound gratitude for all of you for embarking on this journey to fundamentally change the way we deliver care to youth suffering from or at risk of mental illness. Now, I'd like to say just a word about CHR on the way, and I just want to echo Kelly's comments. This has been a terrific partnership in every way. It's original, it's highly productive, it's been fun working with all the people at CHR. They've been really terrific partners in every way. And right from the shared vision at the top, Alain Baudet, who's the director of the CHR, who will be speaking tomorrow night at our major dinner. And Tom Insel will also be speaking, he's the director of the NIMH. Alain Baudet's leadership has been terrific in moving the CHR into new directions with SPORE, the Strategy for Patient-Oriented Research. And as Kelly mentioned, this is the first of several sport projects the CIHR has underway. Also, I want to mention Jane O'Ban is the Vice President of Research and Chief Scientific Officer, who's not with us today, but she's been terrific. And Tony Phillips, who just came in from Tokyo, he's the Scientific Director. I'm sure you all know, for the Institute for Neuroscience, Mental Health and Addiction. And Kelly, who you met earlier, and David Beck have been terrific to work with, as have a number of other people at CIHR who've been here with us today. And I just want to mention the people from the Graham Boeckh Foundation, too. There's Ian and Rob Beck, Graham's two younger brothers, sitting over there. There's Jim Hughes, who's the president of our foundation. My wife Ray couldn't be here, but many of you know her from the past. She'll be definitely there tomorrow night. And there's Joelle, Caroline, and Katie, who have been doing tremendous work behind the scenes to really help make this all happen. Also, I want to mention Jacques Hendelitz, who's the lead in TRAM, and I think you've all had a lot of dealings with Jacques, and Michelle Campbell, who works very closely with Jacques. The partners, the bottom line, the partners have created a powerful working relationship, which gives us confidence that this job will get done, and we're really determined to make that happen. Finally, it's my great pleasure to introduce the selection panel. And again, to echo Kelly's comments, it is truly an independent panel, even though it works in a very different way from the traditional selection panels. We're unbelievably fortunate to have 9 brilliant, hugely experienced people who are playing this crucial role in transforming an idea into the reality of hopefully changing Canada's mental health care system for young people. They're working in a unique way, not just passing judgment on best proposals, but actually working before, during, and after with the various proposals and networks to form one pan-Canadian network that will execute the research that we're interested in. They are effectively a collaborating selection panel. They're going to be working with you to improve your proposals, improve your teams, and to borrow a phrase from Star Trek, they will accompany the successful network on its 5-year mission to boldly go where no national network has gone before. They have chosen you to be part of the workshop and will be working closely with you to identify opportunities and strengthen approaches. And we're deeply indebted to them. Their commitment and their passion has simply been incredible. Their bios are on the TRAM website, but I just want to introduce briefly each of them. From the research side, we have Nina Schooler from New York, Howard Goldman from Baltimore, Catherine Gill from Montreal and McGill University, and Pat McGorry from Australia, who's done incredible work transforming the mental health care system in Australia. On our patient and family reps, we have Austin Martin and Pam Gillette. From service delivery, David Levine. From policy, Paula Tyler from Alberta, who couldn't be here. Her daughter's getting married. I asked her to see if she could change the date of the wedding, but that didn't seem to go over too well. And our chair, Dennis Furlong, former Minister of Health in New Brunswick. And lastly, I want to introduce our youth panel. We have 3 young people who will be advising the selection panel. If they could just stand up as I mention their names: Erin Brown, Erin Hodgson, and Lucy Langford. And we're very excited to have you with us to bring the youth perspective to the selection panel and to be helpful, as I know you're going to be in what we're trying to accomplish. They're all actively involved in a variety of different capacities in promoting the well-being of adolescents, and with particular emphasis on mental health. So I'll turn it over to you, Dennis, to carry on to the chair of the selection committee.